welcome to today's Cow Daily. I'm your host, Sir Michael Cow. Anyway, if I get slightly distracted through the course of this, bear with us. Out the corner of my eye, I can see the neighbour's TV aerial, looking like it's about to snap, you know. And I've got that dog loose in the playground feeling. I'm just completely enamored with it. You know, I've just been sitting for the last 5 minutes when I should have started this, going, "Go on," and then feeling really bad. Bad times, isn't it? It's better than XL bully being lost in a shed, though. See who's in the comments. Here we go. Died E, right back at you. Right back at you, Bob. E, Shazbot73. Moo, right back at you. Glasgow. Nice, Elatian, that's right. Walking back again. So hoping to get one off yesterday, but as will become clear as the show progresses, there are reasons for it. And this is me wanting to get some shit off my chest today. We'll say hello to David Teasdale first. Hello, pal. How we doing? James Bashford, nice to see you. John Nash, all the best, mate. Elegant Quirk, nice to see you too. Right, just back to what I was mentioning there. You probably see the title of the show is People with Disabilities Are Human Beings. Now, as you're fully aware, since I came back, well, many of you are, if you're listening for the first time, hello, thanks for tuning in. I had what I now know to be long COVID, some hipster version, as I'm pretty sure I got infected in summer 2000 and what was the one before the lockdowns? 2019 or 2020? Can't remember. 2019, I was absolutely, quite ironically, I think I caught it in a continental food market Leeds, ahead of the curve. So obviously, I've been trying to get my health back ever since, and I don't know whether I'm just convincing myself that I'm healthy or not. I don't know. What I do know is this, and this is why this show is called People with Disabilities Are Human Beings. Now, I've never been one to shy away from, over the years, sort of standing alongside people if they need support. But I've never, in this regard, had the lived experience of the discrimination. And not even just discrimination in that sort of bigger sense. Those microaggressions, aggressions that are projected towards disabled people every day. And sometimes by people that know. In fact, quite often, that's the way it goes. But having spoken with currently vulnerable people, and thanks to everybody who contributed to this show, I'll be including your contributions towards the back end of the show, because I want your voices to be the last word. I understand the discrimination, and it's going to be hard for me to do this show because I'm going to talk honestly about what that actually means. Obviously, I talk honestly as much as I possibly can, and today will be no different, but I'm just fucking sick. Just sick of this shit. I'm sick of the way people are being treated. I'm sick of the way I'm being treated. And what I'm mainly sick about is biting me fucking lip because of social conformity towards fucking melons who have no right to ever be disrespecting me. So it was just something happened at the weekend, and I was just nah, not happening. And what that thing was somebody disrespecting us on the COVID thing. I nearly died from this shit. In fact, I'm under no illusions really if I was to get past my own delusions, given the things that I research, and I spend so much of my spare time poring over these studies in an attempt to just share, because I want people to be safe. And it's why I went on my way to write that COVID guide for Christmas on how people could stay safe with their family. And it was lovely that people have got in touch to say that it's benefited them. In fact, there's a lad got in touch yesterday and said that he's on about getting good system put into his shop as a result. I mean, that's a win. It's like we're chipping away at it, though, aren't we? We're trying to get this top down. But some things need to be said. But let's set the scene first. I'm just going to add some things to this from my COVID isolation slides, because that's how it feels. It feels intensely isolating. And I have to speak on this because I can't just keep like biting my lip just for like other people's fucking, I don't know, comfort. Is it really comforting to live in an alternate reality which could really get you killed? Who knows? So anyway, as I've said a few times, Catman's anti-capitalist pantry, or whatever it's called on Facebook, just search for Catman, you'll find it. Seeing how people have reacted to the pandemic, I've found disaster movies to be more and more unrealistic. The people respond too rationally by facing the problem head on. If it were more realistic, it'd be like, yeah, Godzilla's a problem, killing all those people, but we got to learn to live with it. And that encapsulates quite a lot of what this feels like. I was explaining this to somebody the other day. Doing this work through this particular period in history feels like screaming into like a silent scream in a dream, where you're just like, here's the monster, and people are just like, monster sound, man, you're just overreacting, you're too sensitive. And then you're chasing around trying to beat them over the head with all of this science, because for the first time in history, the people getting weirded off are the ones with the weight of scientific evidence. But what that's doing is create different reality tunnels, because if you actually look at the media themselves, they're just an absolute mess. So I can understand if like this is your main news source, this show, that it's two different realities are banging up against each other, and the mainstream media narrative is this is just all done. But we know it's not. I mean, look, it just in the last week, 4 people that I know have lung issues, some of them having to go for like scans and x-rays. One lad who is just a great lad, it's basically like, you know, it's not looking good for him. And that's just this week. Previous to that, people have had strokes, heart complaints. And I know, like, you know, I don't want to be the other side of this where, you know, there's people like they just blame the vaccine for everything. Like standard illnesses still exist, but what we do know is COVID exacerbates like so many, and it brings forward end of life illness and injury. So if somebody like me who has been absolutely had his immune system utterly destroyed, and I'm doing everything to build it up, like just goes to some mad event, right? And I catch it, it could kill us, because I'm not really sure yet whether our immune system is even there properly. I don't know, because I adapted to this. What people fail to realize is this, right? That they keep going about survival of the fittest, survival of the fittest, survival of the fittest, and we'll talk about eugenics and that a little later, right? And how this is affecting clinically vulnerable people mentally in that regard, which is completely ridiculously unacceptable. You would think, especially activists would think that. But, mate, seriously, I'm just so fucked off with this. Like, you don't even know. So, this was the other day. I posted about it. Yesterday, at the same time, I was accused of, and this was literally at the same time, giving a platform to anti-science and also only showing one side, meaning the evidence-based science side. Okay, this person was just out of control. This all happened at the same time. I offer no analysis. I feel it speaks for itself. I think, you know, when you get over a certain amount of followers or whatever the fuck it is, I don't even want to call it that. It gets really, really wearing. It wears you down. It especially wears you down at the minute, because the things that I cover generally cover a lot of things, but the things that I think are the most important are COVID, the climate emergency, how this relates to people with disabilities, because if we're not lifting them up, then what the fuck are we doing? Obviously, cost of living and genocide. And the majority of that is being shadow banned on these platforms. So what that means is, for people who don't know what that is, and there is a court case with evidence going forward in the United States to this regard about suppression of pro-peace outlets, whatever you want to call this. And there's that element of it. But also, when it's definitely the stuff on COVID gets to people, then they seem to be wrapped up in whatever convenient bullshit the mainstream media are putting out. And that also includes these absolute dafties who want to blame the vaccine for absolutely everything, you know? But we're not going to talk about like all of that stuff today. It's about how people are feeling. So one of the things that I wanted to pull up, C.S. Lewis quote, one of the most cowardly things ordinary people do is shut their eyes to fact. And isn't that the truth now? And I fucking don't care how many bridges this burns. I'm absolutely and utterly sick of this fucking cowardice. Because there's people like us, right? The people who are actually giving a shit about people with disabilities. We're doing a hell of a lot of heavy lifting, yeah, right? And it's busting us up, like fully doing our heads in. I'm gonna play this video, right? 2 seconds. I'll just pull up this bit. Right, so this is at Prognostic Chats that has shared this video. The person who is about to speak is a PhD in immunology and years of research, baffled by people ignoring COVID for short-term gains when long-term loss is abundantly obvious from the scientific literature. She says, "What are you all doing? Explain it to me." Right, so let's listen.
This. If we had a large plane crash every day in the United States, planes would be grounded immediately. Everything would be shut down until we figured out what was happening. And I've gone through all the stages of anger and disbelief and everything else you go through when you are having a grieving process, except acceptance. And maybe that's not good for my mental health, but as a scientist and a researcher who can read all of these papers fluently, and I understand the impact of what is happening to the world with repeated SARS CoV 2 infections. Your life expectancy is going to go down. Your quality of life is going to go down. You may be disabled for life. You may die. You have all the tools right at your fingertips: vaccination, masking, avoidance of large crowds. We are watching this massive social experiment where people are easily trading their future for half an hour in a large group of people unmasked. Another comment on Lizzie's post said, "We're letting the children down." Since the very first reports, I have been talking about how type 1 diabetes is going up in children post SARS CoV 2 infection. This is a lifelong disease. It is currently managed better than it has been in the past, but it can be deadly. And it is a nightmare for parents to try to manage the blood sugar, imagine this, of a 5-year-old daily, or the child dies. What are y'all doing? Explain it to me. Explain why a concert unmasked is necessary for you in your mind to do when you may go home and 5 days later get sick and never be the same again.
So there's a few things that strike us with that. One, I do actually see a lot of how I'm feeling in that person there. That was at Laughter and Light on TikTok, by the way. The fatigue at doing this, the silent scream I mentioned at the top of the show, like feeling like you're in a dream. Feeling like people who are close to us, let's say, don't give a monkeys. And I know somewhere deep down they do, because they're not bad people. But what I'm objecting to is people trying to like mug us off like I'm some kind of weak person, when I'm actually, when it comes to that level of social conformity, a very respectful person, almost too respectful, in fact. And I made a decision last couple of days when I thought about what had happened. Actually, that wasn't fucking happening anymore. I just don't see what the point is. Like the video I've just shown you, I share work by Nate Beck quite a lot. I think he's absolutely the best voice on this beat. And you should all follow at Nate_Bear, I think it is. You'll find him. And his take on that video was quite interesting. He kind of gets frustrated with those kind of takes because it kind of removes the context, which is like, a lot of people, well, the majority of us all, are being targeted by heavily resourced far-right social engineering propaganda campaign, probably the most heavily resourced in all history. So we've got to take it in that context. But I tell you what it is, right? I'm so frustrated doing this work right now. Like, I'm being disrespected of people that I know, right? And trust me, that's like, I wish I could say more because I don't really give a fuck about offending them anymore. But, well, then there is more than one. But this isn't the place, and I'm gonna do this face to face. I've decided I'm just gonna have it with people. Like, nobody at all gets to the weirdo or weak any of us are. The strongest people in our society currently are disabled and clinically vulnerable people, because at least there was activists to rely on before all of this fucking pandemic shit, right? But where are you now? People who were going on about ableism this, ableism that for the longest time, where are you now? When it's not some kind of like culture war cosplaying exercise, it's real and it's life and death. Where are you now? Where? Because it's unacceptable. Like, it should go without saying, but this is the silent scream bit kicking in. I'll do it again. I'll dig deep and do it again. What the fuck, man? Like, people with disabilities do not need this shit. They've got enough shit of their own. And I'm lucky that I think I've come out long COVID. The research isn't there about how long COVID is and what vascular damage has been done inside, right? I don't know. This could do me in my 40s. I'm in my 40s now, or in my 50s. Nobody knows. So before then, I've decided that I'm going to be a lot more fucking direct to people's faces than I have been, because it's not even about them anymore. It was this whole Captain Saberho shit that I was doing before. Fuck that. This is about me, and this is about people knowing exactly which bear they fucking poked with that fucking bullshit. And hopefully it does benefit people with disabilities and clinically vulnerable people, because here's what we have to do if we're able and if we're capable, and that could be anybody, clinically vulnerable or otherwise, is push back against this shit properly. And for me, the way to get results faster is to target the fucking left, who have been absolutely caught with their fucking trousers down on this. What the fuck are they doing? Is holding an in-person meeting without cleaning the air and inviting clinically vulnerable disabled people to it ableist? Let me answer that question for you. Yes, it fucking is. And if you were one of those people on the left, the majority, who was going around talking about fucking ableism this, ableism that, when it was safe for you to do so, fuck you. But also, take that fuck you on the chin and let's work together. Because it's not about your ego and being told fuck off, because that's what you fucking deserve at this point. Like, and as I say, if this burns bridges with people and all of that, I'm doing this on purpose. I'm trying to make you feel uncomfortable because we tried fucking everything else. Meanwhile, we're in the 5th year of the pandemic. Clinically vulnerable and disabled people are stuck in the house, or they're having to weave around people and just live in fear of something that can actually happen. Like, I've adapted as well, to survival of the fittest. The clinically vulnerable might just like inherit the earth. What fucking state it'll be in when at that point, well, we can only guess. Or we'll probably know because there'll be nobody to look after all of the sick people anymore. So anyway, we'll fucking go on. Absolutely don't give a fuck. This is disgusting. So anyway, this kind of shit, not specifically about clinically vulnerable, but it will give us a sense of what's going on. Imagine rejecting climate change and believing this instead. At Laura Luhmann, absolute fucking crank. Is the deep state activating HARP to disrupt the Iowa caucus? No, it's not, you dick, but she goes on. We all know Nikki Haley has a lot of friends in the defense industry and military industrial complex. She's losing Iowa, and now Iowa's set to get hit with the once-in-a-decade blizzard as Donald Trump is set to dominate the Iowa caucus. Is the deep state using HARP to rig it? Just fucking shut up. Here's the fucking thing. Trump won that, right? But this whole thing cuts across through cunts like that and cunts like Joe Rogan and others. Joe Rogan, right? I saw him the other day, right? And he was talking to that Andy Hinchcliffe bellend who lives up his arsehole because that's how he's got a career. And they were like, oh God, where's all these excess deaths coming from in Canada, man? Like, what could possibly have happened? Insinuating the vaccine, and they went in about the fucking vaccine. And if you actually look into this, there's a video I shared on our social media yesterday, debunked in 3 minutes. But people aren't looking beyond that. And that's the biggest podcast in the world, tens of millions of people every episode. And you see this in people, where it just filters through. And it's just this like back rub from Joe Rogan, a man who is indescribably wealthy, right? Who has monoclonal antibodies on tap. The reason I know this, right? There would not have been this social media, the page, anything like that, because back in the day, Rogan was decent. But seeing all the spooks around him now, doing what Hinchcliffe could, what could have possibly happened? But with veracity this time. However, man, look at the actual plight of what he's putting out these days. Also, as well, just straight up said masks don't work. Absolute fucking bollocks. What he's doing is that like straw man about like surgical baggy ass masks, and he would be right. But what he's doing is the sin of omission, and he's not talking about FFP2 and above respirators. So he's spreading misinformation that may kill people. And people just don't know because, let's be honest, this platform isn't as big as that one. So we can't debunk shit, apart from some people who will tune in. The lad I know on rate, he was saying he's just disconnected from all of, like, as he put, left-wing politics. And I just picked his message up and he was like, I need to get back more, I just feel bad. But I understand that, like, this whole show was premised on the fact that my head's battered with all of this. So I just feel like rather than just like deactivate and do one, I just thought I'd tell you about where I'm at. And I feel like I'll bounce back from this because I'll bounce back from worse, but fuck me. I'm telling you, if you've crossed us at any point, strap your fucking self in. Fucking unbelievable list. And especially people who are not, who are like big activists and that, running around with your fucking events and all that. And you don't give a fuck. It's all about you. Keep fucking talking, dickheads. Anyway, more. What's this saying? Too often we idolize a middle stance as a more rational, more fair, more loving. We wear it as its own kind of moral superiority. But virtue is not synonymous with neutrality. Sometimes integrity demands a choice. That's from Black Liturgies. Fucking right does it. And this is that time. Anything that's a life and death thing, what you just like going with the flow and sacrificing your health for capitalism, like, because this is the thing. Now, quite a lot of us don't fucking care if people get what's clearly coming to them. The gobshites who just want to pretend, but that's fine if they just like respect other people doing what we're doing, right? The actual strongest people. Do you know how strong you've got to be to wear a mask these days at a fucking supermarket? Shouldn't be that way. Big up everybody doing it, even if it's just for yourself. Like, I respect you a hell of a lot, and when I see people like doing it too, I just feel like giving you a fist bump, and maybe I'll start doing that. Who knows? So anyway, pick a fucking side, man. Sit on the bench, you get more than splinters these days. You might die anyway. Here's some things you should know. Here it is, yeah. COVID update from the WHO's Dr. Maria van der Kerkhove. Public health risk remains high. This was just from a few days ago. Circulation is 2 to 19 times higher than reported. That's COVID, of course. Data from 50 countries, 10,000 deaths per month. Data from 29 countries shows hundreds of thousands hospitalized. 6% of infections result in long COVID. Trust me, you don't fucking want that. You might die. It sucked. We don't know the long-term impact of long COVID. Ah, no, let's just fucking throw the doors open. What we will see in 5 years' time from now, nobody knows. Most don't talk about COVID because of the like trauma, which is what we're talking about here, and what I'm trying to be kind, but at the same time, find it really hard because we're all fucking traumatized. Some athletes with long COVID can't exercise. So there goes the whole sort of, oh, only the big and strong survive out the fucking window. Wear masks in healthcare facilities has been said. Wear masks when ill to prevent spread. Children can develop long COVID. We don't have the agility in our system to scale up if a worse variant comes along because people no longer think COVID is a problem, which is a problem. Why do you think this is being done to us? Because it is being done to us. I mean, I'd say, like, on a basic level, the wheels of capitalism need to keep turning and they'll try anything to gaslight the population. And the population is willing. This isn't like being forced upon the population. And that's trauma psychology. Sometimes people just reach for the last safe point. And if it's being handed on a plate, you don't have to do any kind of change and it all goes back to how it was, then that's a really easy person to manipulate. So then when somebody like me comes along and goes, hold on a minute, no, they'll fight to protect that version of reality. But I think deep down, everybody knows. You've got to. Deep down, you cannot use synthetic delusion to neutralize an organic sense of threat. It's not possible. So you're burning a hell of a lot of bloody energy and scapegoating people like me, and that isn't happening any fucking more, at least without you getting telltale about it. So anyway, please follow at CB_CEV. That's clinically vulnerable families on your Twitter. We really need this. There's a petition going around to restore COVID-19 wastewater monitoring in England. It's obviously a parliamentary petition. I know that these things get fucked off, but like, look, even if you just sign it, like, because it's a nod towards clinically vulnerable families, then that's what it's for. Too many people saying, oh, what's the point? Like, it doesn't do anything. Maybe it might not get anything from those bastards in Westminster, who, by the way, have clean air and had stuff installed in 2020. We've got the evidence for that. So we need wastewater monitoring. The reason being is the reason that we know, like, what the problem is the biobot stuff from America. We need this back in the UK. Fucking simple as that. We also need it because of all the shit that is flowing around the country. Anyway, there's other comments, right? So it's like at the bottom end, some fucking Zionist, cow shit for brains. If anyone believes this, it all adds up. On the right, I just want to draw your attention to a DJ called Grimmy. And he is too. Proper Andrew Tate fan. This lefty sounds triggered, blah, fucking blah. If you ever see somebody called Grimmy on a flyer, fuck the event off. Anyway, this is what's her face. And this, I think this is a point, like, on from capitalism needs to be turning. Somebody like is tweeted Chris Richards, they want us to be too tight to protest, too tight to strike, too tight to riot. Liz what's her face quote tweets and replies, they want us too sick to fight back. Do you think that's what this is? We need to be too sick to fight back. So it brings us back to the left, who are just mugging clinically vulnerable people off and disabled people. You're going to be too sick to fight back. So what's the point in whatever fight you're engaging in now? Because if you keep falling off the Palestine demos and all of this, and the organising and all that, the campaigns fall apart. Same as your workplace, same as everything else. And it's not coming, it's happening now. But people will not mention the C word, not cunt, COVID, because you don't want to know, because reasons that are yours. So what we're going to do to close this off is we're going to take some comments from you in a bit, but also some people who are disabled and clinically vulnerable and or clinically vulnerable who kindly shared how they feel. This was Morris. Asked how the clinically vulnerable people feel in 2024. Was this, it makes me feel vulnerable, the fact that I rely on benefits and we're running an election year and the opposition is as ableist as the Tories are. That is scary. Robin Orgill, and thanks for your kind words, Robin, about me being one of the only voices to step up, and just know that like partly this show was inspired by your kindness. So Robin says pretty much what was said, vulnerable because we rely on a really cruel benefit system that isn't fit for purpose, a feature, not a bug. People are still in denial about the myriad of viruses that are about. The notion of infection control has gone out the window. The government actively doesn't care that the next generation of children are being disabled by COVID, as long as the economy is functioning. Spoiler alert, it won't function if the next generation is too disabled. Absolutely spot on. Not one bit of a lie spoken. Thank you, Robin. Sarah Cad says, vulnerable and angry. I'm currently in legal battle over discrimination. Big organisations and many individuals can do what they like and get away with it unless you have the excuse me, unless you have the money to get representation and can withstand the stress of it. If it gets resolved and I'm legally able to talk about what's happened, I'll be shouting from the rooftops. Cool, man, get in touch and maybe you want to come on here and tell her what's happened. This is Steve asks, should I stop speaking up for clinically vulnerable and disabled people? I'm never gonna. It's never gonna fucking happen. Well, apart from when I die. But I wanted to ask people, because I'm confronting them now, and I'm confronting them with these open, ridiculous questions. Because guess what that does psychologically? It's not directly about COVID, but it's just kind of a bit like subconsciously, am I doing this? Don't think you'll get too many content creators challenging their audience like this, guys. Eh? And that's why, out of many reasons, I'm like, fucking Marmite. Fucking bollocks to it, though. Jill Ellensworth says people with disabilities and clinical vulnerabilities are marginalised groups. The fight for equality is ongoing. Word life, homie. Was also went on to say after I asked him a further question, it'd be nice if people would actually understand that being disabled and claiming benefits isn't a choice for most of us, and that 98% of us would be happier if we could work and get a livable income. But that line of reasoning hits up against 40 odd years worth of agitprop about disabled being scroungers who don't want to work, promoted by our leaders from both sides of the house and the media. So that is seen as fact by many, and worst of all, the crystal Tories, because you could get better if you believed enough. I could go at length about this, but I can't be asked to type and it's getting me ranting in that slow, intense burn sort of way that takes ages to diffuse and that can knacker me, and I have an appointment I have to be at in an hour. Sorry I missed the live stream, but I'll catch up when I get back. But yeah, a bit of compassion, actual proper understand, support, not the oh look at me performative sort that nearly everyone not disabled tends to do. Those cunts that I've been mentioning throughout this, those cunts who were on about fucking ableism for the longest time, where the fuck are you now? Where's people like was? Think about it. We should be standing up and standing alongside. None of this cosplaying fucking shit. I'm Che Guevara, me. Man, fuck off, cunt. What are you doing? What are you actually fucking doing? This goes to the unions too. I think the best one is the National Education Union, who put a document out, which I don't think goes far enough, on cleaning air in schools. Yet there's nothing being fucking done. Never mind the strike about pay. What about a strike about like kids being rolled into school for this to happen to them, right? What they told you in 2020, kids don't catch or transmit COVID. Schools are COVID secure. Even if your child does catch it, it's mild, don't worry. Immunity will last 20 to 30 years. On that basis, I can see why everyone sent their children back to school. The fucking opposite's true. So why in these heavily resourced organizations of the so-called fucking movement, right? Is this not happening? Why? Like, why is it not like, right, we're going on strike because the air's like, the air literally kill some people in here and disable them. Get the fuck out, down tools, everybody. Can't work here anymore. Same goes for any fucking workplace. Why do they not know? I'm done with the whole fucking rest of it. Like, it's your job, man. People who are working for unions, this is literally your job. So what we're going to do is target the left, and that's going to do wonders for me. But I don't fucking care anymore. I'm going to target absolutely anybody who isn't on board with this, because every day clinically vulnerable people have no support and are stuck in the house is a fucking outrage. If you were running around going on about fucking ableism for the longest time, check your own policies. I have. You're in breach of them. Trust me. So anyway, comments, and I'm gonna fucking do one. Do. Right, hold on, there's loads of them here. I'll see if I can pull. 2 seconds. Just, you know, that one says, look at him in a mask, guy. Look at you coughing shit all over the place. True fucking story. He's also saying, bro, every time I want to mask the docs, I've heard weird comments. Seriously, man, I'm so close to knocking people out at this point. Fucking telling you. Who the fucking think that's opening, like? Absolutely crazy. Oh man, fuck this, man. You know what it is, right? Just fuck it. Like, look, I'm gonna take a break, and then I'm fucking just whatever. See how it go. I'm always gonna stand up for clinically vulnerable people though, and disabled people. End of. Anyway.